McKinnon goes on to say here that men are damaged by sexism as well, right? And by men, I'm referring to the status of masculinity, which is accorded to males on the basis of their biology, but it is not itself biological. So again, this idea of masculinity in terms of, and with reference to kind of that conversation that we were having last week, right? So the idea here, though, is that I mean, when we think about sexism and when we think about, again, this kind of hierarchy, when we think about kind of this one over the other, we think about it in terms of, again, men kind of being damaged by it because it sets up unrealistic expectations. It sets up continued power dynamic. It sets up continued inequality. So, arguably, right, when males witness pornography where the female is serving the male, where the male is dominating the female, right? And that's, again, typically and historically how a lot of pornography is portrayed. Then what does that do to the male viewer of that type of pornography? It harms them, right? It sets up unrealistic expectations. It sets up unrealistic behaviors towards females, right? And that should be taken very seriously. Okay? McKinnon does go on to say here, though, whatever the damage of sexism is to men, the condition of being man is not defined as subordinate to women. Okay? Where, again, some various strands of feminists claim that women is defined in relationship to men, that men define women. Okay? And so, on 271, where there's a couple of major takeaways here, McKinnon says this is what it means when feminists say that maleness is a form of power and femaleness is a form of powerlessness. And this is where it kind of starts to really connect with pornography on 271. I could not describe this, but I couldn't explain it until I started studying a lot of pornography. And pornography, there it is, all in one place. All of the abuses that women had to struggle so long even to begin to articulate. All the unspeakable abuse. And she lists a handful of instances of that. Only in pornography it is called something else, sex, 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 and sex, respectively. Pornography sexualizes rape, battery, sexual harassment, prostitution. It thereby celebrates, promotes, authorizes, and legitimizes them. More generally, it eroticizes the dominance and submission that is the dynamic common to all of them. It makes hierarchy sexy. Okay? And so again, this kind of like very pointed attack and critique of pornography is heavy, right? And McKinnon makes the observation that, like, and she continues on here, that pornography, right, for it to kind of work in its arousal, especially if the one that is viewing pornography is that of the male, right, then that kind of like dominance, that hierarchy has to be present. Okay? The pornography makes hierarchy sexy. And so, again, does that lead to attitudinal changes in male viewers of pornography to expect that in their own private lives? Does that, again, lead to attitudinal changes in males to expect that in their own dating lives, in their own kind of hookup lives? Does that lead to attitudinal changes and attitudinal expectations in females to be treated that way and be okay with treated that way, right? These are serious questions that we have to ask in connection with the topic of pornography, right? McKinnon continues, pornography's world of equality is a harmonious and balanced place. Men and women are perfectly complementary, if perfectly bipolar. Women's desires to be screwed by men is equal to men's desire to screw women. All the ways men love to take and violate women, right? Women love to be taken and violated, right? And again, this is all, again, kind of like the guise, the GUISE of pornography. Women are there to be violated and possessed, men to violate and possess us either on screen or by camera or pen on behalf of the consumer. On a simple descriptive level, the inequality of hierarchy, of which gender is the primary one, seems necessary for sexual arousal to work. And this is, again, I think one of the most provocative claims in McKinnon's piece here, and this is in the kind of later stages of 271. What pornography does goes beyond its content. It eroticizes hierarchy. It sexualizes inequality. It makes dominance and submission sex. Inequality is its central dynamic. The illusion of freedom coming together with the reality of the force is central to its working. Okay. So again, I think that that is a provocative paragraph. I think that it's really something to be wrestled with here, right? What pornography does goes beyond its content. It eroticizes hierarchy. It sexualizes inequality. And these harms have to be taken seriously, right? And this is where McKinnon is going to start setting up a couple of further critiques, which we'll get to in the next video.